So we'd like to welcome as our final speaker, Liz Wilder, who recently has become our executive director for the Idaho wool growers and is also a private producer. And today we've asked her to come on and visit about some of the marketing strategies that she and her husband, Brett, do at their Boise River lamb. So Liz, if you want to go ahead, we're happy to have you here. Thank you for coming on.
Of course, thank you guys so much for having me. It's great to be here and to have so many people on the call that are interested in learning more about lamb marketing strategies. So as was said, my name is Liz Wilder, and I just took over as the executive director of the Idaho Wool Growers Association. But before I took over that role, my husband and I are involved in the sheep industry. We, along with my father-in-law, run about 100 head of Suffolk, Hampshire crosses in Caldwell, Idaho. And then we also, my husband and I, started what is called Boise River Lamb. So we'll get into just to start with, what is Boise River Lamb? So Boise River Lamb is a complete direct-to-consumer retail lamb business that Brett and I started in the fall of 2020. In September, we had slaughtered 10 lambs. And the two driving factors behind us creating Boise River Lamb was, first, we had a lot of interest from individuals that were interested in individual cuts of meat rather than a whole or a half custom. And secondly, is that we had lambs left over that were really good quality, had great carcasses, but we were having to take them to the Saturday sale. And so we were looking to find a way to add some value into those animals. So with our 10 lambs in September, we started on this path of creating a direct-to-consumer retail lamb business. We started with 10 lambs, and in April, we completely sold out. And so from there, it has been just a constant rush to try and get enough product to stay up to date and to fill our customers' orders. We processed 10 last year, and we're looking that we should project to process up to 100 this year. We are located in Caldwell, Idaho, so we're right in the heart of the Boise Valley and the Treasure Valley, which has helped a lot lead to our success. We're in a really good population center that has an interest in local lamb and locally sourced ingredients. So when we look at our business model, we do sell both to restaurants as well as directly to consumers. So it's about 70% of our product will go directly to restaurants, and then 30% will go to consumers that are interested in lamb. And then a little background about us. We are 6th generation Idaho ranchers on the family ranch in Caldwell, and my husband is 2nd generation sheep producer, and I also come from a sheep background as well. So that's a little bit about our background and who we are. Our mission at Boise River Lamb is really simple. It is high quality lamb for every occasion. We found that lamb has this perception of being really only for high-end restaurants. It's really hard to prepare. It's too complicated for everyday eating. And so we're on a mission to try and fix that. Essentially, we are here to show consumers that lamb can be enjoyed at any time of the year. It's easy to prepare. It's great to eat, whether it's Easter, New Year's, Christmas. It's a big holiday, or it's just Tuesday night and you need dinner. Lamb is a great protein option. Lamb traditionally has been viewed as more of a niche market. We're trying to get it more into a mainstream where it can be viewed and eaten similar to a pork and a beef. And we're doing that through marketing efforts. We have very large marketing efforts that we do. We'll talk more about those than anything later on. But essentially, our mission is that we're providing a high quality product for anyone, for any occasion. So our marketing strategy, really, when we boil it down, it comes down to adding value. We are looking to add value at all pieces in the supply chain. So at the producer level, for us, Boise River Lambs adds value because it is using lambs that otherwise would have gone to the Saturday sale, and it's finding an avenue for us to sell those products that add value into that business. At the consumer level, we're adding value by providing a very high quality local product at an affordable price that's easy to acquire, it's easy to use, and it's very simple. We did a survey a couple of weeks back with a local FFA chapter for a contest they did, and they surveyed local people in this area. And we found that the two most important things for consumers in the Boise and Treasure Valley is that they want to be able to source ingredients locally and they want a good price for it. And so we're adding value at that consumer level. And then thirdly, we're adding value at an industry level, because the more people that are eating lamb, the better it is for all lamb producers. It was said earlier that Americans eat only about 1 to 1.1 pounds of lamb in a year. We're on a mission to fix that, and we're here to provide value for consumers and restaurants and everybody we work with, and show them that lamb, it's accessible, it's easy to use, it's a simple ingredient that has a very high quality mouthfeel, nutrition, and it's a really great product to use regardless of how you are using it. So how are we doing that? We are deploying a lot of marketing tactics to do this. Previous speaker talked about he mostly used word of mouth marketing and wasn't very prevalent on social media and an online presence. We're the exact opposite. We have taken to doing social media and online presence, doing farmers markets, and providing resources. It's just how our model works, and it resonates really well in our audience. So the first thing that we do is we're very active on social media. We have a Facebook and an Instagram account. We are also in the works of getting a Pinterest account. Our Facebook and Instagram have been a really great way for us to reach and connect people in our valley, consumers that we otherwise never would have seen. And it's also been a phenomenal avenue for us to connect with restaurants that are interested in sourcing local ingredients. So many people nowadays, when they're looking at, where should I go out to eat, they look up their social media presence. And the same thing when you go to a farmer's market or the co-op, you look up what these presences are online. And so we have made a large push to be active on social media, on Facebook and Instagram, and using as many of those tools that those social media channels provide us as possible, just so that we can reach more and more people. We do purchase ads on social media during when we run big specials for different events. Over the holidays, we did a holiday box. We purchased ads, and we were able to reach like 10,000 people in 3 days just through ad placements. So that is one of the tactics we are using in social media. Instagram and Facebook, we use stories. On Instagram, we do a setting called Reels. It's just a way for us to continuously reach a larger audience base than we otherwise would have been able to. The second piece we do is we are very much so focused on easy ordering. Convenience is a huge factor. You need to make it as simple as possible for your buyer and your consumer. The more steps that you have in place, the more likely they are to not finish the process. And so we make this as easy as possible. We host a website called boiselamb.com, and that website has full capabilities to purchase and set up your pickup and delivery options for your products. We do offer on-site pickup every day of the week. And then on Saturdays for a fee, we also do deliver within like a 30-mile radius of our house, which essentially covers the full Treasure Valley area. Again, convenience has been a very important piece for our consumers. The easier it is for them, the more likely they are to finish that process. The third piece we do is we do a lot of in-person engagement. We participate in a local farmers market. We work with local chefs. We engage with our restaurants. And we also work with our local Chamber of Commerce and the agriculture programs that they offer within those cities. It's a great way just to get in front of people, to interface, to talk to people, and to share that message. Social media and website is a great way to share messages as well, but there is just something so great about that face-to-face interaction that really sticks with people. And so we do participate in a weekly farmers market that started actually this year in June is when we started that. During the winter, we also participate in an online farmers market that is housed in social media as well. So we're constantly finding ways to just get in front of people. The restaurants that we do work with, we help provide marketing materials for them to help advertise our business, because we view this as a relationship between us and the restaurant. They are promoting local sourcing, and so we're providing them with marketing materials and information to help promote us, because it's also promoting them. And that leads me into the fourth piece we really focus on, which is resources. We create recipe cards and other informational recipes on how to cook lamb, how to use lamb products, the health products of lamb. The American Lamb Board does a great job of providing these as well. We have created our own in addition to using those marketing and resource materials, because we found that we like to focus more on very simple recipes and very simple, easy to use recipes and content. We then are also able to brand those recipes specifically to our business. Well, as I was saying before, we do work very closely with our restaurants. If they ever do specials, we help provide information about our products that are used in those specials. We work with the farmers markets, we work with our consumers. It's a very cohesive, work together, collaborative relationship across the board. Our big goal is we want to make it so that lamb isn't cumbersome anymore. Lamb is easy to use. It can be cooked any day of the week. And so by doing all of this, we're trying to create that public perception for our consumers and just get them to try it, essentially. Some things to consider with a direct-to-consumer lamb business. It is a lot more work than it seems like. When we started this, we did not anticipate it to grow as large as it did. It has grown to the point that we do purchase feeder lambs from other producers in our area, and we feed them out for and sell them back to our Boise River lamb as well. So there are a lot of logistical challenges, especially when it comes to scalability. But before you even consider getting into a direct-to-consumer, there's a couple of questions that I think is the best way to determine if you live in a market that has the capacity to handle or has the interest to do that. The first question is, what is your local market? Who makes up your target audience? In the Boise Valley, we have a very food-centric, very food-focused and locally sourceable ingredients consumer and client base. We have a lot of millennials. We have a lot of those foodies. I'm a millennial, so I can kind of joke on it a little bit, but millennials characteristically are considered foodies. They're very conscientious about the foods that they eat, the foods that they consume. They're more likely to spend more money on really good, high quality products. So that's one of the reasons that we focus so heavily in direct to consumer in the Boise Valley area, because we have an audience that's willing to pay a higher price. If you go to Costco or Albertsons and you find lamb on sale there that's sourced from Australia, they undercut us on price constantly. However, we're able to add value through the locally sourcing, through our resources, through our media, and so we can justify a higher price. But in having an audience that's willing to pay for that higher price is important. And is there a need and a want for locally sourced products? Is that demographic in your area? Are they willing to pay that price for locally sourced products? You can make it extremely affordable, but it's hard to compete with Australian and New Zealand sourced lamb that can undercut us on price constantly. It is a higher quality product, absolutely. And so that is something to take into consideration. But when you really are evaluating your market, ask yourself those questions of who is my target audience? Who am I looking to sell to? And are there enough people where I live that are willing to do that I can, justify going forward with that? Then the big question is, do you have the processing capabilities in your area to handle being able to process your animals for you? The previous speaker did a really good job talking about what that looks like with the USDA stamping. We've had a really difficult time with it in the Boise Valley, and it's something we're constantly working on. So it's something to always keep into consideration. And then do you have restaurants that want to locally source and will pay the price for those items? What's great about restaurants is that they're going to buy in bulk, more likely than not. So you're able to move a lot of product a lot faster than you would otherwise. And so having restaurants on board and willing to participate is a great place to start, because then you're already able to move so much of your product. We have found most of our restaurants, to be completely honest, we've connected with almost all the restaurants we've worked with, we've found through social media. It's a crazy world we live in, and that is not always the case for everybody. That's where we have found luck, but it's definitely something in an area that you should consider working within and using as a marketing tool, because it just connects so many people. So making sure you have restaurants that want locally sourced ingredients and are willing to pay a higher premium is really important. The restaurants that we work with have all made comments about the lamb products that they can get through a Food Service of America or a Cisco, which are the food agencies that supply restaurants with their ingredients, is it's almost always Australian lamb. It's, you know, it's a smaller product. It doesn't have as much of a desirable flavor profile as most chefs that we've worked with at least want. And so we've been able to really secure some great restaurant contracts because those restaurants were already unhappy with the products that they were getting. So if you do have restaurants that do serve lamb, that have the capabilities to serve lamb, that's a great area and an avenue to grow and to continue to work within. And we didn't know a single chef at a restaurant when we started this. And it's just, you'd be amazed what you can do when you just walk in the door and just talk to the manager and talk to the chef. So those are just some things to consider. Some of the challenges that we've really had this year is our processing capabilities are very tricky. You have to have the USDA stamps, and they have to be individually packaged and labeled, and there's labeling requirements. So processing capabilities, even moving forward, are always going to be a struggle unless we can get more USDA kill and packaging facilities available for everyone. Another piece that we just were not anticipating at all is there's a lot of licensing that has to go into having a direct-to-consumer retail business in general. It doesn't have to be lamb, it could be pork, any kind of food product requires a food license. And so you do have to be inspected and certified with your district health office. It is a fairly painless process, but there are steps and loops that you do have to jump through. We hold all of our product as on-site storage. And to do that in Idaho and to get a food license, we had to have specialty freezers that we had to purchase and use to store all of our products. And so there are a lot of capital expenses to go into it. We can house about 20 to 30 lambs at a time in our freezer. And so we're constantly moving product, which is great. But there is a lot more pieces that we were not expecting when we started this. And even down to farmers markets, there is tabling materials. There's a lot of costs that are even associated with those kind of events. So the direct to consumer is a great avenue for us to find and add value for our animals. Before you dive into it, I highly recommend really evaluating your market, you know, what your operation looks like, because everybody's operations are very different. Evaluating what your market is, what your industry is, who your audience are, and really evaluating your local area where you are selling, and then being able to secure processing capabilities. We had to secure our kill dates a year in advance. So we're still trying to catch up and trying to get more kill dates constantly. So it's just things to consider as we move forward. There's always challenges, but there's always rewards in pieces like this. And I can speak for both Brett and I that having our direct to consumer lamb business has been absolutely incredible. We've enjoyed it so much. It has been so much fun for us to just get out and connect with community members and share the story, share our stories, share who we are, share what we do in our operation, as well as just really push people to consume lamb. More people are willing to try it than I think we anticipated, especially talking to them in the farmers markets, and they're really willing to try new things. And so it's a great time to get into a lamb business, because with COVID and shutdowns and everybody that was working from home, everybody was cooking a lot more. And so people are really testing out new things in the kitchen. They're trying new items. In an industry as a whole, if you look at the food service industry, we're seeing a huge uptick in home cooking, and new ingredients overall are being used. And this is a great way and an opportunity for Lamb to really sneak into those kitchens and get onto the dinner plate or get into the lunchbox. And so it's a really great and exciting time to be around and to be in the Lamb business. So that is my presentation. Just a real quick, I am the executive director of the Idaho Wool Growers Association. We are the state producer association for the state of Idaho. We represent producers of all levels, whether you have 1 or 2 sheep or you have 10,000. We are here to represent and advocate, educate, and promote your industry. I'd just like to thank the University of Idaho Extension for putting on this great webinar and doing this every week. We greatly appreciate your push to educate and advance the sheep industry as a whole. My contact information is there, and if you're interested in seeing our website for Boise River Lamb, it is also listed there as well. Are there any questions?
Thanks so much for coming on and sharing your experience with us. Mike, I had a question for you about, you said that you're bringing in other producers, buying lambs to fatten and that type of thing. Are you having any issues with consistency in those animals, or are you able to have a pretty consistent product?
So we have been very selective as to the producers and the lambs that we are buying in an effort to try and keep the carcass quality as consistent as possible. Our flock it's a little bit of a different flock. We have 50% of our ewes are for ranged commercial seed stock, and the other 50% are club lambs. And so we have a little bit of an interesting dynamic in our flock as well. And so trying to find animals that will match the carcasses that we are already raising ourselves is tricky, but it's been a great way for us to also connect with other producers and source lambs locally and help find, value for those producers as well for their cull lambs.
Sure. No, it sounds like a great partnership you guys are building. So good luck to your continuing to be able to be successful with that. You don't have any other questions. So thank you so much for joining us. And as our new executive director, we'll be interacting a lot more with you as we move forward with these programs. So
absolutely. I look forward to it.